Hi, John Rodgers here, and I've been spending some time on YouTube, uh, looking at some information, a lot of debates going back and forth between Christians and non-Christians and atheists. A lot of atheists out there with a lot of challenges to the Christian faith, challenges to the Bible, and there are a lot of apologetics, people who are apologists, who present reasons to believe the faith. And I can sure appreciate that. The reality is, for me, I am a follower of Christ. My whole identity as a person really is. The core of my identity is as a follower of and as a disciple of Christ. And as such, over the years, I have been a follower of Christ for 22 years now, recording in '09, May of '09. And in the past, I've really enjoyed apologetics. There was a time when I just really dove into it. I was studying apologetics, and I've taught apologetics in the past also. For a number of years, I served as a Bible teacher at a Bible school, and I served as a pastor, and I just loved apologetics. And I find it very encouraging. I find it very compelling. I find it very intellectual. But the reality of the matter is that of late, I've really been thinking about the whole idea of apologetics, and I'm just going to kind of throw some ideas out here, and I know that by all means, I could be uh, I might, well, I might upset some Christians on this one. If that's the case, I sure don't mean to. These are just my own thoughts on the matter. You know what? Over the years, over the last couple years, I guess, I've been kind of leaning away from apologetics. And the reason why is because, as I reflect on my own faith, genuinely speaking, if I'm going to be open and sincere and honest, the reality is that I did not become a Christian because someone proved the validity of the Bible to me. Someone proved the validity of Christ to me. That's not the case. Now, I will say this. Over the years since I have been a follower of Christ, as I've studied this apologetics, I have been encouraged, and I do find it intellectually supportable, okay, obviously, but that's not what brought me to Christ. That's not why I'm a believer. And is it not only that, one of the reasons why I've been leaning away from it is because, as I started thinking about really some of the core issues of Christianity, that being the creation, that God created us, that Jesus Christ came to die for our sins, that he rose of a virgin birth, that he rose from the dead. Those matters right there are outside the realm of proving. They really are. If I'm going to be honest about it, I'm going to say that cannot be proven. The reality is, and like I said, I know I can upset some Christians there, but this is an unmistakable reality to my mind, is that if those things could be absolutely proven, then guess what? Where would there be a need for faith? It wouldn't be faith at all. You would just lay the information in front of someone and a person would believe. No, the reality of the matter is that I believe those things on faith, by faith. Now, the reality is that as I look at the things that support them, I do believe those things. The reason why is because I have a prior disposition. I have a disposition towards faith. And I think that many atheists, if they were to be honest with themselves, they would. I would hope that they would be at the same place. That being that there are certain things that are just so outside of the realm of knowing, of being able to be proven without any shadow of the doubt. For example, if a person ponders and thinks, "Wow, spontaneous generation, the fact that life just sprung out of nowhere, no one was there to see that. That takes some faith to believe it. You know what it is? It's faith." And if a person takes the next step and says, "Okay, even if life was created, where does this whole idea of cognitive, of being mindful and the spirit of a person, or spirit for lack of a better term, a person's personhood?" I know that an atheist won't, probably lean on terms of spirit, but the personhood, boy, where does that come from? You know what? If a person's an atheist, if they're going to be an honest atheist, they're going to say, "I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I just believe by faith. It's just something worked out there." Okay. Now the reality is that so it's kind of a funny thing that atheists. I believe that atheists are people of faith. There's one individual I know on YouTube that disagrees with the idea of faith, saying that they discourage faith, because faith is simply believing what other people tell them. Well, you know, that's not a conventional. That's by no means a conventional definition of faith. Faith is believing something that can't be seen or proved or touched. You know, when a person, you know, there's so many examples that a person can use. I guess I won't go down that road. What I'll say is this. You know, if Christianity and my faith were merely a matter of a belief system, if it were a matter of a belief system, if it were a matter of a philosophy or a religious system, that being a system of things that a person should do in order to live a proper life, then I think that it would be appropriate for a person to try to prove, to substantiate that philosophy, that belief system. But, you know, I've been thinking recently, it's not that. The essence of Christianity, and at the center of Christianity, is a person. He's an individual. He's a person. So it would have to be, I would have to speak of it in terms of, if I were to persuade someone of Christianity, I would want to introduce them to someone that I know. Because the reality of the matter is that, and I'll just say this, I have got irrefutable proof. Proof that cannot be rebutted, proof that no one would ever be able to discredit whatsoever in my God. And I'll say this boldly. I don't care who is out there on the internet watching this. I have got irrefutable proof in the existence of my God. And I'm going to say this. Let me qualify what I just said. The proof is not for you. I don't present it to persuade you, because I know that it's not for that. It's proof to me. No one can prove me wrong in this. Here's why. Here's the reason. Is because when I was 19 years old, I was not raised with any kind of Christian indoctrination. I was raised in the homes of drug addicts and alcoholics. And my teenage years, I was sleeping in parks, eating out of garbage cans, strung out on drugs, and an alcoholic. After I got sober, by the way, this account that I'm about to share is after I was sober for 10 months. So, but what happened, quite simply, is that God came to me. I heard him speaking. I was in my kitchen. No one was around. I was not on drugs. I had a vision of my life put before me. All of the wrongs, all of the who I was as an individual. And God spoke to me in an audible voice. That's my proof. He spoke to me in an audible voice, as clearly as you can hear my voice. He said something very simple. John, stop it. And he called me to himself. He called me. Now, guess what? That can't be rebutted. No one can ever disprove that, can they? I need no apologetics for that. It's the reason I believe. I'm reminded of Paul. Paul says this. He says it in Timothy. He says, you know, I know who I believe. He doesn't say, I know what I believe. I know what I believe. I know everything that I believe. He says, I know who I believe, and I am persuaded. So if I was going to persuade someone, it wouldn't be by way of, by the way, I understand how foolish the gospel sounds. I understand it completely. For goodness sake, you know, virgin birth? Raised from the dead? It sounds like myth. I understand that. I understand it more than anybody. And I also understand why it is that Paul says, you know, it says in Corinthians, it says, you know, the preaching of the gospel is foolishness. It's foolishness to those who are perishing. But you know what? He's a person. And if a person really genuinely wants to know if he's true, I would be more than happy to introduce him to you. He's my friend, more than my friend. I do know him. I interact with him. He's real on a regular basis. I have an interaction with him. That's why I believe. Heck, if you've got any questions about that on that level, by all means, feel free to contact me through posts or whatever. But just some thoughts on the whole issue I thought I'd share. Have a great day.